Hi, hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whenever you're watching this. Welcome back to the Quarantime Podcast with myself, Luke, and my good friend and co-host, Craig. How are you, Craig?
A little bit hungover, mate. Bit of a heavy Zoom session last night.
Zoom says, what were you drinking?
Gin, too much of it.
I feel like Zooms are now the new pubs on a Friday night.
Yeah, but the only problem being is that you've already bought the alcohol and there's no Uber to get home afterwards, so you kind of just keep drinking and there's no problem, and then you end up feeling terrible. So, yeah.
Yeah, to be fair, it's very true. I did indulge in a little bit too much whiskey last night, as you know, but I don't think I'm as bad as you.
No, right.
Anyway, welcome back to episode 5, I believe it is, Craig, isn't it? Episode 5, yeah. Thank you so much to everybody that keeps on watching, has subscribed. We really do appreciate it. And I don't know if you've noticed, but actually we've got a new banner and a new photo. And I want to say a special shout out to Matthias Greenwood, who helped create that. If you want to have a look at what Matthias does, because he does really good artwork, his Instagram link is going to be in the link below. Okay, but we're going to go straight on to it today, aren't we, Craig? So what have we got in stock?
So today we've got another guest episode. We're bringing on two of our good friends, Sam and Tamara, who late last year, November time, went on a 6-month travelling adventure. So we're just going to bring them on, have a little conversation with their travels. Obviously it was cut short because of the coronavirus outbreak. So we'll have talked to them about their experiences on the other side of the world dealing with that, coming in early. So Luke, if you're ready, let's get
I'm gonna add them in. But firstly, what I'm really finding so far, Craig, is actually how interesting this coronavirus has affected people in different ways, and it's amazing to hear their stories. So yeah, let's add them in. There we go. This is going to hopefully go a lot more smoother than last week. Fingers crossed. So no, we had issues with
may have some technical difficulties. We are being adventurous. Let's see. Hopefully they get.
Here we go. Sam Daly has joined. Hello, Sam.
Hi, Sam.
Hello. Is everyone here?
How are you? We're just waiting on Tamara real quick. She'll be here in a second.
Okay.
Tamara.
Hello.
Hey, hi, how we doing? All right?
Yeah, good. Thank
very well,
you.
mate.
For joining us and being our second guest on the podcast.
Yeah, definitely.
Thanks for having us.
So, firstly, how are you? How are you adjusting to normality? Because whenever somebody goes away on holiday or goes travelling for as long as you have, when you come back, it always takes some time to readjust. But the thing is, for you two, it's gone completely different. You've had to totally readjust to what's going on with this normality of what we call life nowadays. So how are you getting on? How are you settling back into it?
It's very weird because also we've been separated. So we came back and had to quarantine for like 14 days just to be safe. But whereas we usually live together, now we're completely apart. So that's a really weird part for us, I think.
Yeah, that is weird. I mean, you go from 4 months of absolute freedom to the ultimate seclusion because we had to self-isolate for 14 days in a little cottage in a place called Hinton outside of Bristol. I mean, couldn't complain too much because it was quite nice. There was lots of ducks and birds and like a nice big lake. So it was like another mini break, but it was quite strange coming back into a bit of a surreal kind of reality.
Yeah, it's big.
So if you're going to self-isolate anywhere, it's probably best to go where you were going, yeah?
I think so.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, it's a shame because when we landed
self-isolate.
in the airport, there was no tests, there was no temperature check, there was no way of checking if anyone was ill. So then you had this kind of big public split where some people were like, oh, I'm going to go straight home, and some people isolated, and we just decided to isolate.
So
basically.
you made the choice yourself then to self-isolate. You weren't told by anyone. You thought it'd just be best to do that.
That's correct.
Well, from being in Asia as well, it was taken a lot more seriously. Like going into malls in Vietnam and stuff, like our temperature was checked, you had to sanitize your hands. Then we came here, and like I said, we just walked straight through Heathrow Airport, and was sort of like, oh.
Really?
It's crazy, really. So I mean, obviously, before your kind of travels were cut short, where did you visit? What places did you go to?
Tomorrow.
So we started off in Cambodia on a little island, and then went through to the capital of Cambodia.
The best
then
place.
was it across to Laos? What was that?
Cambodia was the best place, and then over to Laos next, yeah.
Then Laos, and then we did Thailand. We met up with Craig, and we met up with our other friend Carl, and with my mum. And then we went down to Malaysia, then all the way over to Japan. Then we had to skip South Korea because of the outbreak. Then we went over to, then Vietnam was our last destination, and we're back.
What would you, so culture-wise, because obviously being on that side of the world is, like for me, when I came and joined you in Thailand, it was a massive culture shock to me. But in terms of kind of like, even though it was that side of the world, was there differences in the places you went to anyway? Like, what was the major differences?
Yeah, well, we've been to Japan like sort of maybe 4 years ago now, so we kind of had experienced a part of Asia, and they do share some similar culture there. So we were kind of like pre-prepared a little bit, whereas you had probably only done like a little bit of Europe or similar cultures to us. It was mainly kind of basically like seeing the poorer states. That was the bigger impact. So like where we first went to Cambodia, we landed, we got at the airport, and as we were driving to our first destination, there was like a mother washing her children in like a muddy, like sort of pool of water by the side of the road.
Puddle. Yeah.
So that was quite extreme to see that sort of stuff. Takes a while to adjust to the food, stuff like that, basically. But we are all for learning the new culture, so we were pretty excited.
What was the accommodation like? So I remember you saying to me how much it differed as well from when you went to different places. It definitely varied, didn't it?
Hard pillows were a constant theme.
Hard pillows
Literally,
were
the hardest
problem.
pillows ever.
You'd look up a review on Booking.com, and as soon as you see the hard pillow, you're like, nope, next one.
But we did all the way from like beach huts to like real disgusting hostels you never want to stay in there where there's like ants in the bed, but then there's like really nice hostels as well. There was a real range, and it didn't matter where we were, there seemed to be something different.
We kind of went luxury, didn't we, when we joined you? So it was kind of a nice. You said it was nice for you to have a little bit of luxury before you went back to hard pillows, I guess.
Back to the hard pillows. Well, we took our own pillowcases, so if it was ever too bad, we kind of just stuffed them with like hoodies and t-shirts, tied a knot and slept on that. So there's a top tip for anyone out there who's going to go traveling to Asia: take your own pillowcase. It's good for like a bag and other stuff as well. But yeah, even the first place we went, which was like luxury, like you'd see in Instagram pictures, like on the beach and stuff. Even the accommodation there was extreme. No aircon, no fan, wooden walls, wooden floor, quite a hard bed. And it's just like 35 degrees every day, and you're waking up at 4:35 a.m. to like really loud locusts because you're in the middle of the jungle. So even our first land was an impact.
It sounds amazing though, so different, so unique.
A bit of an adventure to get to that first one as well, wasn't it? It wasn't easy to get there.
God.
Near-death experience,
The worst
I like to call
experience.
it.
I remember seeing your Insta story actually. Honestly, like 24 hours later, you finally made it.
Yeah, well,
we had no sleep for like 24 hours. We're straight off the plane in the clothes that we've been wearing for all that time. And then we had to do a 45-minute jungle trek with these bags we never carried before, and we literally thought we were dying. I had to start kicking my bag down. My bag's got a huge hole in it now.
Well,
it was dreadful.
we're not the fittest of people, and it was a 36-hour journey there. It was 36 degrees. It was 2 p.m, so the hottest part of the day.
Yeah.
And I had to strip next to naked in the jungle, led on this floor, shouting up to Tamara at the top of the hill, like, just throw your bag down! Just throw it!
Give it to me now!
And eventually I had to, like, put my bag down, storm back up this rocky mountain to Tamara, get her bag, start walking, collapse, get back up, start walking, collapse, and just repeated that until we finally made it, basically.
We'd
literally take a 10-minute break and then pick up our bags, 30 seconds of walk and be like, nah, I can't do it. We didn't have a break again.
And then some
like being chucked right into it just immediately, straight away. I suppose it's probably the best thing
It definitely helped.
Yeah. Well, it was good because then any other walk or sort of big trek we had to do in the next 4 months after that, we just said to ourselves, but it's not the first day trek, is it? So it was nice to have the comparison to take us through every other moment. Like even when we were with you, Craig, we did some pretty epic quests that I think, if I remember correctly, you set us on, and that came second. That came second ranking to the big golden Buddha in Thailand, doing all those steps. Yeah.
I thoroughly enjoyed those steps, to be fair. It was just a little bit of exercise, wasn't it?
Mate, you
flew
flew
up
up them.
down, to be honest.
Oh,
Loved
the walk down was worse than the walk up for me. I remember Sam absolutely just stormed it down there. I was just dying halfway down. Helped a woman. She saw, because I bought that fan, didn't I? And I walked past her. She was like, "Can I have some of your fan?" And I was like, "Okay, here you go."
Some of your fan. There you go. Have some of it. It's all good.
Oh, it was great.
Yeah. And I got robbed by a monkey while going up that mountain.
Oh yeah, on the monkeys. Yeah. That was fun.
Definitely.
I was actually scared of the monkeys, to be fair.
They were intimidating.
So after Craig and Kyle left, it was obviously like around early January. I think that's when COVID-19 definitely kicked off in where you were. How did you sort of avoid getting away from it? Was it sort of like a game of manhunt, or what was
running
it?
Away from it, or was it kind of like?
It was weird, actually. My mum came to meet us straight after Craig and Kyle, and, like, we hadn't really heard much of it. There was, like, a bit of a whisper of it, I suppose. Then we went down to Malaysia, and then, like, okay, around Chinese New Year, we definitely heard of it. There was lots of people from China, like, coming to Malaysia, so they said, like, you know, be careful. But we were still in big crowds of people, nobody was being that cautious. But after that, Japan, it just seemed to be following us. Then we had to skip South Korea because there was a massive outbreak. Then in Vietnam, when we got there, literally 2 days later, it was just, everything was closed.
But you say about in Malaysia, like, we went to a Chinese New Year event where, like, 80% of the crowd were Chinese. It's, like, a popular place to go where they sort of holiday for it. And we were still conscious of it. Like, you start hearing every cough, and you're like, you're so sure that people probably cough already that much, but because of the whole awareness... It's like when you buy a new car, right? And then all of a sudden you think everyone's got your car because you have it, you see it. Yeah. So it's like every time you hear a cough, you're like, is that the virus? Is that this? Is that that? And especially when you're at a Chinese New Year event, and at that point in time, it was mainly pinned on China and Wuhan. So that's when the alert started for us, I think. And we started to try and figure out ways to avoid it, or we were starting to worry about a pandemic that it could become, which it now is.
Was it your plan to come home, or was it just we have no more place to go? Yeah,
it was.
No, Sorry, we got to Hanoi, and everything was okay. The schools had been closed for a few weeks, but that was like being precautious. For a few days we did the sightseeing, and then literally the next news was like, everything's closing. So we're like, right, let's head further south where things seem to be still open. And then as soon as we got there, we heard rumours of the next day stuff was closed. We were on a motorbike going to this place, and somebody drove past us and they were like, yeah, if you want to do anything, book it today, because tomorrow it won't be there.
Really?
So, yeah, then we decided to go back to Hanoi after a lot of tears and not really knowing what to do, and then booked our flight back.
It's a shame.
So how was the flight there? That was interesting.
That was well, me and Tamara, we decided actually before the flight, even when we did our 10-hour sleeper bus journey, which was pretty interesting itself, down from Hanoi to try and escape once again the sea void, and we kind of went south, hearing that in Ho Chi Minh City in Vietnam it was safer. We got to a halfway point, and at this point every single thing was closing down. Every event you'd want to go to, every restaurant, every bar. We went to where they're the biggest caves in the world, and they were all just closed. So then when we went back up, we had like these masks called N95 or N99s, and they basically block out 95% of pollution, which ultimately means they block out 95 to 99% of bacteria, being coronavirus. So when we were at the airport, we felt a little bit more protected. But then you look in the queue, and you see people in full hazmat get-ups with like 3 masks. They had eye goggles with like defenders on them. You know,
wow.
They had the boots, the gloves, they had it all. So it started feeling like a movie. Like, it started feeling really weird.
That's the thing. It doesn't feel real, does it? When you see people dressed like that, it's just strange.
It's just strange, yeah. And then, you know...
Well, and all the cabin crew were the same.
The
whole cabin crew had like hazmat suits and the whole gear.
Yeah.
Will you be... Oh, sorry, go on, Sam.
No, I was just saying that the flight in itself was pretty terrible. Me and Tamara, we looked around, everyone was being very good. They had their masks on. It was everyone flying back to London, everyone was British, so we sat down. And obviously Italy at this point had a little bit of a bad name for itself for how bad it was over there.
Yeah.
And you can't help the paranoia of the mind. So I was sat down, I took the middle seat, Tamara took the window, and a gentleman sits next to me. I think, okay, this is fine, he's got his mask on. He starts speaking his Italian. Okay, he was like, that's fine. Still cool, no worries.
No, yeah.
The only Italian man on here, of course, but it's okay, no worries. And then...
The thing is... Yeah.
Go on.
No, sorry, carry on, Sam, carry on.
I was just saying, his wife was then behind us, but she had 2 empty seats next to her, which she decided not to sit in. Cool.
Wow.
And then 5 hours in, he had to go and ruin it by sneezing about 12 times in a row and having a coughing fit. And what did he do, Tamara?
And taking his mask off. He took his mask
off just to do those sneezes.
So, I'd have hated that.
Me and Sam have got blankets, like,
well, I think it's such a long journey as well, so you've just got to sit there and just, enjoy the coughing. So
another 9 hours of that.
Would you? So are you like, obviously whenever this like thing ends, obviously because your trip was cut short, are you gonna try and go back out there, finish it off, do any more travelling?
Definitely, and let's hope the flights are cheaper now because of this, eh? Look for some positives.
Yeah, and luckily for Sam, his boss has been very kind and said that he's allowed a bit more time off. So we're hoping to do some more of Vietnam, drink some more good coffee, thank goodness. And go back to South Korea.
So I have one quick question for you both. So before we wrap up, one quick highlight from your trip from each of you that stands out, which is probably going to be really difficult because you've probably got loads, but if you've got one that really stands out.
Food.
Yeah.
That's all. The food is amazing.
Food.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Noodles every day.
Pad Thai.
Food.
Pad Thai for lunch, breakfast and dinner.
I mean, I'll give two things. I'll do a shout out to you and Kyle and say when you two were down, it was amazing because it was nice to see people from home and have experiences with friends. It's like memories kind of that you'll always remember. So that was pretty good. It was nice to see you get as excited as we were when we first landed and share it. And but for me, it was our first place back, like what we were saying earlier when we did the jungle trek and got to the beach in Cambodia called San Luem, I think.
Yeah.
It was just my overcoming of my fear of the sea, basically, and getting in with tropical fish. You can get to waist height, no waves, put your head under, and you're seeing a rainbow of fish. It was pretty magical.
No, it sounds beautiful. Sounds beautiful.
That was my highlight.
Really does.
Awesome.
Yeah, really does. Guys, thank you so much for coming on today. We really do appreciate it. It's been amazing.
It's been nice having us.
Thanks for having us.
You take care of yourself.
Chat to you later.
Stay safe.
Thank you. See you later.
See you later, guys. Bye bye. Bye bye.
Wow.
Hello, Craig.
That was brilliant.
Well, that was amazing. I'll tell you what, it's really nice to actually hear some fantastic points about it because you know me, Craig. I've never really wanted to go travelling.
No,
actually speaking to Sam and Tamara about it, and actually speaking to you about it when you went away for a couple of weeks, I do really want to go.
It is. It's strange because I'm the same as you, and when you hear about people's experiences like that, you kind of think, well, it is mad as well because the other side of the world is just the complete opposite to us, what we do over here. That it's just incredible to see.
Definitely, and it'd be lovely to experience their culture. That's one thing that's definitely going to go on my bucket list as of now when this is all over.
It was nice to hear as well, because I think as well for both of them coming back, as I mentioned to you before we started recording this, is a chance for them to actually share their experiences travelling. Because if this pandemic wasn't here, we'd be meeting up with everyone and we'd be hearing those stories in person. So I think it's quite good that we were able to listen to it and obviously put it on the podcast as well. So it's been a great one, this one.
Definitely, but that's episode 5 done. Fantastic. Thank you as always, Craig, for being my co-host. Thank you to everybody that is watching this. Please, if you like our videos, give them a little subscribe because it's lovely to see that increase.
It keeps increasing every episode. So
yeah, it's fantastic. Have a look at Matthias's Instagram and take care. And we'll see you in the next one. See you later.
Peace out.